The mobile gaming industry is suffering at the moment. How many barriers are there facing mobile game devs at the moment? You've got all of the privacy changes, you've got the new China regulations, you've got Unity runtime fee, you've got this hyper-competitive environment. So everything is stacking up against mobile game developers at the moment. I'm just going to have a little sip of water. Exactly. So we're going to talk about first-party data and how this solves one of the biggest problems for game developers at the moment, which is ad revenue. And ad revenue has been hugely affected by Apple's iOS ATT tracking policy. And we're going to talk about how first-party data solves this problem. And the way we do this is by removing all PII, personable information, including IP address. We don't link any of that data to any third-party providers. There are no universal identifiers. And when you do all of this, then you are compliant using that publisher data in an ad network. And by doing that, you're also future-proofing yourself for the future with more privacy regulation to come. So I hear so much about how to improve ad revenue using first-party data, and everyone is saying you've got to have a first-party data strategy, you've got to do it yourself, leverage that first-party data, but it is so hard to go from 0 to 1 with actually leveraging that first-party data. Basically, you've got two options. You can integrate your data with an existing ad partner. So what that means is you've got to get the ad network to accept your data, to update their SDKs, to update their data pipelines, update their bidding logic, update their interface for advertisers. So a huge amount of work for ad networks to actually accept and use that data. The alternative is basically you build it yourself. And traditionally, this has only been possible to the largest publishers out there. For example, Fit7, they have built this incredible ad infrastructure, and they make 90% of their revenue through it. But you need to be a huge publisher like King or something. You need to be able to manage all of those resources, so it's a big deal. So basically, as a publisher, like I say, to go from 0 to 1 with leveraging that first-party data is really hard. It's very difficult to actually get that off the ground. So is it clear? Not really. Oh, there you go. What does it take to actually this yourself? And things before, but building an ad network is massively hard. We've now done it, and we've spent a year and a half or so building all of the pieces together, plugging all the pieces together to actually be able to launch this ad network. So again, if you're a large publisher, yes, but anyone else, it is just such a big hill to climb to actually build that ad network. So what we've done is we have standardized first-party data, and we've looked at all of the interactions that gamers and made it standard so that both publishers and advertisers, they all integrate this game events, and then it benefits the whole ecosystem. The data that publishers send, it is isolated in their environment. So all of the models that are built, they're only built specifically on publisher data. That data is not shared in models anywhere else. Exactly. So what we did is, like I said, we looked at the most common game mechanics within games, and we can track that usage data that gamers generate based on their progression, spending, and earnings. And the idea is to get as much data as possible about how players interact with the game so that the models can differentiate the value of the users with the value of the bid for that ad impression. So data that tells us if this user is a repeat spender, if they spend a lot, if they are more of a cosmetic persona, do they fail lots of levels? So all of this data goes into the models to help differentiate, like I said, the value of the user with the value of the bid. And this is all compliant with the privacy frameworks. So you can start monetizing that iOS opt-out traffic. Of course, 18 to 50% iOS reduction in revenue from that cohort of users. There are lots of benefits when you integrate this standardization in first-party data. Primarily, it is to increase that ad revenue, but you can also start targeting UA campaigns specifically for players that exhibit similar behavioral characteristics as your top-performing players. So because we differentiate the user, we understand their value, then you can start running UA campaigns optimized to target those players, which is where the loop of the cycle completes, providing really valuable ecosystem. Another thing that really excites me is the fact that we can start creating these player trajectories that look at the sequence of events that players perform into this curve, let's say. And so we can start predicting the cohort of, we can start predicting from an early stage of a user journey which cohort that user will fall into. Are they likely to fall into a top spending cohort or one that churns at a specific point? And so as a developer, you can start optimizing specifically or personalization of gameplay based on those predictions. And all within a privacy compliant manner. So this is the first thing we are focusing on, improving iOS ad revenue and targeting, all using that first-party data in a compliant way. But the ad industry is ripe for disruption, and we're going to have a great 2024. The second thing we want to do is in-app price mediation. The way I like to think about this is mediating the mediators. So you have your Max, you have your Level Play, and others, but you integrate one ad SDK and you have no idea what is going on behind the scenes. Who is winning the bid? Am I really earning the most I can for that bid? And the way we solve this is by connecting all of these ad SDKs in one SDK that a developer integrates, and then showing the ad from the ad SDK that has the best price for that ad impression. So it provides transparency into how much you're earning from every ad network, as well as ensures you are earning the most for every ad impression you have. And publishers are complaining left, right, and center that they have no idea what these large ad networks, how these ad networks are actually operating. They are public companies, they're earning a tremendous amount of revenue, and they are oftentimes prioritizing their own demand over other demand, because they earn up to 50% margin on that other demand. So why wouldn't you? But as a developer, that's basically margin lost to you. This in-app price mediation, I think, is a really, really exciting idea, because this is actually what Outfit 7 did. We hired some fantastic people from Outfit 7 who helped build the ad network there, and now we can provide this to all within the game industry, and you don't need to be such a huge publisher to be able to do this. The third thing we want to do in 24 is publisher ownership, and we want to share profits with publishers based on the amount of supply that they bring to the ad network. Fundamentally, it means more revenue for publishers that integrate, and also that publishers can have an input into the direction of the product, and also into if the company will be sold or not. This happened previously with Max before it got acquired by AppLovin. Some of the large publishers, they had ownership in Max, and of course they got good payouts when it was acquired by AppLovin, but they no longer had any insight into what actually was happening into Max. So yeah, this is the platform. It's already live. We are launching with some partners already. Ads are being shown inside games, which is really exciting. And you can also then start drilling down with those behavioral analytics inside the developer portal. So come and talk to us. We're at booth G14 upstairs. And if you have any questions now, I'm happy to answer anything on these few topics or any other thing you would like to ask.